Guys, I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. If you're a returning subscriber, as always, guys, welcome back, and I do appreciate support. Guys, I want to talk to you about a story I thought was just crazy as can be. It's about this young man right here. This is 18-year-old Rakai E. Davis of St. Paul, Minnesota. Shout out St. Paul. And this guy right here is in jail right now, currently with no bond. And this guy they're saying has violated up to 6 women. And he's a serial R-word-ist. I hate saying it in the first 2 minutes of YouTube, but you know how it goes. Anyway, this guy's locked up. He did some vile stuff. And they said they got DNA and video evidence to prove it. Take a look at this. They said he started this when he was 16 years old, violating women. Sickening.
Well, right now, an alleged serial rapist in St. Paul is in jail, arrested after a nationwide search. St. Paul police linked 18-year-old Rakai Davis to at least 3 sexual assaults on St. Paul's east side. St. Cloud police arrested him earlier this week. Tonight, police in both cities are sharing new details about the search and his arrest. And they told our Raya Katene they believe more victims may be out there.
18-year-old Rakai Davis is facing multiple charges of criminal sexual conduct, and he was previously arrested in connection to one of these assaults, described in court records as a rape at gunpoint. But he posted bail and got out before DNA evidence linked him to the other cases. He's now being held without bond in Ramsey County.
I actually went to the commander and said, I think we have a serial rapist.
An alleged serial rapist, now behind bars after police say he sexually assaulted 3 women in St. Paul. First in May of 2023, then again in November and December of last year. 18-year-old Rakai Davis was taken into custody in St. Cloud on Monday after a nationwide warrant was issued for his arrest.
It's a pretty heinous crime.
Commander Eric Skog and Sergeant Nicole Bardot work in the sexual violence unit for St. Paul Police.
They're complex cases.
It's something that's going to be with these victims forever.
They say Davis used weapons, including a knife and gun, to threaten women he'd met online as he sexually assaulted them in alleyways. Court records show one victim said Davis slid a knife across her neck. I thought he was going to kill me, she told a nurse during a sexual assault exam. Stab me or shoot me.
To violate somebody in this way, it's just an awful thing.
A combination of DNA evidence, surveillance video from neighbors, and detective work helped Sergeant Bardot and investigators connect the 3 cases and track Davis down. She believes there are at least 2 other victims who've not come forward, and she hopes they know they're not alone.
It's something that's so violating, and bringing the person who committed that to justice and having them be held accountable for their actions.
No matter the circumstances, we just encourage people to come forward one way, shape, or form.
Ramsey County does offer victims and survivors of sexual violence a number of options for reporting assaults if you're not comfortable going directly to police. You can talk to an advocate instead and explore your options from there. We do have a lot more details about that right now under this story on KARE11.com, and Davis is scheduled to appear in court on March 28th.
The first time we're hearing from the police commander in charge of the case of an alleged serial rapist in St. Paul.
18-year-old Rakai Davis was arrested last week. He was wanted for an alleged armed sexual assault that happened back in November. He's also facing charges in 2 similar cases. The first from when Davis was just 16 years old.
Renee Cooper joins us live at the St. Paul Police Department with the latest on this case and the concern there may be more victims. Renee?
Brett, the St. Paul police commander overseeing the sexual violence unit here tells me this case is rare and it's shocking. Tonight, Davis awaits his day in court from custody, where police tell me he's currently being held without the option to bail out.
It's super concerning, and it's very concerning. This young man starting off at such a young age with such a heinous crime. It just, this is kind of out of the ordinary.
At 18 years old, Rakai Davis is charged with raping 3 different women under threat of a weapon. Juvenile court records allege the first incident happened in 2023 when he was 16. And late last year, 2 more women came forward. One reporting Davis, quote, hit her in the back of the head with a handgun. Police deeming this a case of a, quote, serial rapist in the capital city.
I think it is. This was being done at a nearby address or a nearby area to his home, in kind of in a semi-public area. So it's pretty risky behavior. And just history has shown us people who are willing to do that, they typically don't stop.
Commander Yrs Old believes there are at least 2 more victims out there.
As few as 2, but maybe many more.
That belief based on anonymous posts to a dating site that Davis allegedly used to lure women.
In one particular post, it appears, and again, the person was anonymous, but this person met up with him and he displayed a weapon. And we don't know anything else other than the fact that this person was cautioning others not to meet up with Rakai Davis.
Commander Skog commending the bravery of the victims who have come forward and hopes Davis's arrest in St. Cloud last week will open the door for others to come forward.
We understand sometimes the fear and the reservations that go with reporting this, but we just encourage all victims to come forward. And we will take their information. We'll do our best to show care for them throughout this whole process, but we'd love for them to come forward.
Now, it's worth noting that the use of a weapon in these cases would enhance the penalties for Davis if he's convicted. He's expected back in court later this month. Now, if you or someone you know is a victim, you can call police directly here, or instead, you can call advocates with sexual offense services if you'd prefer. That phone number is 651-266-1000. Again, that's 651-266-1000. We'll also have that information over on KSTP.com. In St. Paul tonight, Renee Cooper, 5 Eyewitness News.
That's the story of this guy, Rakai Davis. Started raping people at 16 years old. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Said he was locked up before for a previous thing. I just realized I changed my hat. He'd been locked up before for a previous infraction of the same charge, and somebody bailed him out. Who's bailing out this type of crime? What you think about that? Look at this. It says, I just found it. According to court documents, Davis forced himself onto women sexually while threatening them with either a knife or a handgun. And it said he would basically, it says, according to St. Paul Police Sergeant Nicole Bardot, Davis met the women he assaulted through dating apps or websites. Now watch this. He would basically have the people that he met through social media meet him at a certain location. So he had a spot he was taking these people to. And then would walk them back to an alley area, and that's when he would commit the crime. So he had one stage place that he kept doing this at, but he'd had these girls meet him somewhere, and then he'd walk with them, had them walk with him, and he'd do what he did. That's vile. It's like a predatory spider, a funnel web spider or something. They said it's up to 6 women he was doing this to. At 16 years old, he started this. And that's the thing. A lot of people had this, if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of way when doing crimes. It's like nowadays, man, you're starting to see felons that look like they in Dirty Harry movies with the stocking over their face. Remember they used to have in the 80s, the late 70s, early 80s, the typical guy that would do like rape crimes and stuff, would had a gun to the woman's face and get on top of all kind of crap. You starting to see that in real life. You know what I'm saying? I remember when I was in my younger days, I'm like, yo, who would do that to somebody? Like that ain't even comfortable. I don't know why men do what they do when they rape women. I don't understand it. That's one of them things I could never understand. At any given time, you can be promised sex from a woman. You know, he was meeting these girls on dating sites. So obviously there was a hint that this was going to be something physical. But it had to be on his terms and those that are like him. This type of stuff, you look like they said, it stays with people the rest of their lives when they get violated, whether it's a man or a woman. And it's something you never unvisualize after it happens to you. And it has lingering long-term effects with you having relationships moving forward and how you relate to the opposite sex once it happens to you, whether you're a man or a woman. And that's like a lifelong scar that never heals. Yet these people get to go on and move and they get a bail and they get another chance, crack at society. Oh, you messed up the first time, even though you ruined somebody's life, we give you a second chance. Couldn't be me. Fuck that. Messed up. You know what I'm saying? You forced yourself on somebody, crushing their spirit and ruining their body. All with the threat of killing them. Basically, you let me do what I want to do to you or I'll end your life. I'm Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. If it's up to me, these types of crimes will be punishable by one thing, death and death only. No deal, no bail, no probation, no nothing. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. 16 years old he started this. Where the fuck was his family? Where's his dad? And this is another thing before I get out of here. You're seeing crimes with these younger males, and it makes me think that they ain't got no male role model or father in their life. And hear me out before you get mad. Oh, everybody got that. Listen, those that was raised by men in the house that we feared and respected. We always had this thing of, okay, when you get in trouble or before you go do something, you judge how it's going to look and how the people that raised you, that you got to answer to, are going to respond to you getting in trouble. That's why you get some kids that do stupid stuff. They get some kids that are unbridled just doing crazy stuff like this. He ain't got no man that he got the answer to and explain himself. I think a lot of people out here right now that are doing a lot of this crazy stuff have no males that they got to explain this stuff to, that they either fearfully respect or in their lives. That's all I got to say about it. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.